Hey, Stones fans, part 3. And if you didn't see part 1 and part 2, check it out. I got the links down below, and trying to put together a worthwhile documentary for Goat's Head Soup. And first part was more of what happened around this time, before, during, after of Goat's Head Soup. I want to say it's about 45 minutes long, pretty deep information, and I try to deliver what I can the best I can. And I do have to mention, and it pissed me off, and I was going to take the video down, but I put in some disclaimers. I found out some information after that was not true, and I did mention this in the description of part 1. Keith and Anita Anita supposedly got raped down in Jamaica while Keith went to London. That story is not true, and I'm glad it's not. I really, really annoyed with the MFer that started it, Tony Sanchez, an old friend, disgruntled one from Keith's prior life. He wrote a book with a ghostwriter, with a tabloid type writer, and they put this in, and they said it, and people bought into it, and this one said it, and this one said it, and it sort of snowballed. And Keith basically in his book says, nah, it didn't happen. This guy was just angry. So I just got to mention that, because I do like to give truth to my documentaries, and if I find something, I'm going to point it out. Anyway, so Goat's Head Soup Part 2 is my version of telling you about the album cover and how it was made, and then also about the songs, how to listen to a Stones song, what to listen for. There's Stones heads, and there's millions of them. I don't think there's many as Beatle fans. But the Stones heads are there, and they're all different types, all different versions, all around the world. Just when you think you're like the biggest fan, there's somebody just deeper that you find out. There's some real intense dudes, geeks out there, which is great. And it's great to talk and hear and read things, what they talk about. So, and there's disagreements, and there's discussions, and so it's fun. That's part of it. But the Stones are the greatest rock and roll band ever. I mean, look how long they lasted. Look what they went through. Look at the music they gave. I talked about, 68 to like 81 is to me, the peak everywhere. I have nothing against Brian Jones. I have nothing against Ronnie. I don't want to go the wrong direction here, but I don't listen to the early albums as I do to the mid and later ones. I think there's several out there which are just great, and some of the songs, but it kicked in Jumpin' Jack Flash. And I talked about that, and from there on, it's just mind-blowing what these guys did. There's no one like Jagger, no frontman like Jagger, ever. I put him up against anybody, especially the 72, 73 tours. Look at some of the videos, look at some of the footage of how he led the performance. I'm going off on a tangent here. It's about Goat's Head, but this is just intense. It's intense stuff. As I listen to the record, as I watch, I call it goosebumps. Goosebumps good. GBG. Total GBGs here when I listen to them. What Keith delivers, the riff masters, the Mick Taylor. All right, Charlie, Bill, Nicky Hopkins. So the band, the band, I talked about that. Billy Preston gave a lot. Goat's Head got a bad rap, and a lot of people just got sucked into it and sucked right in and took that as their guidance. But as Stones heads, you go in and you break and you analyze this down when you listen to it as music. It's like in college, when you had a film class, when you had an art class, you broke down a painting, you broke down an exhibit, you broke down a Beethoven piece or Shakespeare, you analyzed it. And that's what the Stones is. You break it down. When you put it on, say, oh, okay, here, give me what you got. Okay, all right, I like it. No, it's got a good beat. I don't give a fuck about beat. I care about what the lyrics are, what the guitar's like. I don't need a dance. So you break it down and you listen to all the parts. You listen to it over. Sort of why it might take 3, 4, 5 times to appreciate the Stones album. I know there's a few out there who've commented and said, I never liked Some Girls. I was right there, 78. I remember putting it on and saying, oh man. And then the next thing I know, after a week, oh man, Ray, come down here, listen to this. Gotta even hear this yet. So to turn on. So Goat's Head is just great. It's just that whole period, it falls right in, because if you break it down, you understand it. If you are raising your eyebrows, gonna hit the dislike button, leave. Then there's no more need to listen anymore. I don't think you'll get it. And you don't deserve to listen to Brussels Affair. So, all right, I'm geeking out. I get carried away. I got to stick to the topic. So, I ordered this September 8th. I ordered this a month and a half ago from Pop Market. And I got it for $95. I got the 4 albums. The vinyl, Brussels Affair, and the regular album in a box. I'm not going to go through unboxing and all that. That's not what I'm about. And I searched for coupons for Pop Market and coupons. I got a $10 coupon. Search for coupons when you're ordering on these companies. I tried a few of them. Some of them didn't work. Eventually one clicked and I got $10 off. So $95. So I'm figuring, okay, 4 albums, $25 each. Okay. 150, I don't know. I won't get the CDs unless, I see them real cheap. I just refuse to do that. I wish it came with a book. I wish it came with more, but it didn't. So that's okay. You deal with it. You work with what you have. I can't be upset or disappointed. Let It Bleed was an album that was recently put out. That didn't even have outtakes in it. And basically the Stones didn't have control over that. And I think it was ABCO, and they don't. So that's the reason why I didn't get Let It Bleed. I didn't get Exile, and I wish I did. I probably will get some of these remixes eventually. So, what I did, I'm going to talk about, how I about the song differences with the remix. I took my album I had, this Japanese import. This wasn't as good as I thought it would be when I got it a couple of years ago. I took this. And I took the new album, and I was constantly taking one off, taking the other, and I was going like this, playing the songs, playing each parts, like 1-minute sections, 5 times. Take it off, put the other album on, while I got the headphones on. That's how I listened and compared. Bottom line is, Stones heads should get this album. An average Stones person probably doesn't need it, probably won't appreciate, the differences. The differences are subtle. When I hear a remix, I want to hear something that's just really, whoa, I don't have to search for it. I want it to come to me. And Giles Martin, however you pronounce his name, I'm not a super geek fan with him. I know he did Peppers. I like that album. I do have it. I think he was conservative. He was safe. Album has crispiness, it has airiness, it has all these friggin' adjectives you want to say. It's open, it's separated. Yeah, there is a difference there. Rhythm section is different. The background vocals, a little bit up there. The horns, a little spacier and fuller. I'm going off where I didn't want to go off. Gosh. Notes. I gotta look at my notes. The piano is more defined, a bit. Acoustic guitars, you could hear a little more strumming. Strings, percussion, again, more of the rhythm is up there. There's a little more brilliance. It's subtle. It's not extreme. That's what sort of like, all right, again, I always look at it, I want sort of an alternate version almost, but that's not what this is about. It's not. It's a remix by somebody who knows what they're doing, and I would say, like I said, average Stones doesn't need it. A person who doesn't have Goat's Head at all, yeah, I think you'd probably benefit from this, hearing this, and buying this. And 2009 is a remix. I don't know too much about it. I'll be honest. I never really heard it. But I have heard its comparisons and that it's good, it's comparable, it's up there, it's different. Okay, I don't want to go there. If you don't own the album, I think this package is really cool. Pricey, yeah. Probably not something you would probably spend for an album you're just not sure of. So if we think of that logic, let's get the album for whatever, $10 used. I don't know. Stones heads are going to dig it. There's a seconds out. So this is the album, of course. I'll show you the package. It's just, again, no unboxing here. It has the information on it, the cover, who's on it. The insert is actually here. And then it breaks down about the second album. So the second album is cool and is worth part of this package. It has demos, it has alternate versions, and they call it new songs. Okay, Scarlet, I guess, was not released before, but there's 2 other songs, Crisscross Man, All That Rage, which I'll talk more about. Those are Stones Head songs. We've heard this before. Maybe different versions and different words and different sounds, but we basically heard this. So this is nothing so new. The standout of it is the 4 alternate versions, and I'll just mention that a little later. But that is just killer. That is just floors me. It brings me to another world. I'm mesmerized. I'm just like spacing out as I'm listening, and just very deep when listening, concentration, and really, really cool stuff to hear. So I gave a few listens to the album. It wasn't just once, it was several times. And like I said, I bounced the needle back and forth many times, tried to listen to pieces of the song, old version, new version, and like I said, the album has subtle differences. It's nicer. It is pleasant. It is nice to hear. It's refreshing. I use that word, refreshing. Refreshing. Shower's refreshing. All right. So it's like a shower. You feel good coming out. How about that? Yeah, it works. I don't have a lot to talk about on these songs. I just wrote down what I thought. Mr. D, heard the background vocals more. Mick Taylor's guitar seemed a little buried. 100 Years Ago, I wish there was more piano, believe it or not. Well, I should say more piano, less clavinet. How about that during the song, in the beginning? The separation of Mick's vocals where he's singing, come on, come on. You know, I wrote that note down. I liked it. It wasn't as muddy and where all the instruments are centered, but so it wasn't as muddy sounding. Coming Down Again, piano is crispier and it's a warmer feel. Okay, backing vocals, cleaner. Sax solos is spread wider. I think more of the sax solos were like sort of here in your ears. Now it's out. You could hear the difference. Clearer, cleaner rhythm. Heartbreaker was less muddy, less thickness. Yeah, thick. It wasn't as thick. Layers, compounded. Angie, the intro. It seemed like there was less reverb on the intro guitar, more reverb maybe on the vocals, or maybe the guitar might have been down more, but it sounded like more reverb on the vocals. Acoustic was cleaner, the strings were cleaner. This probably was one of the better songs on the album as far as improvement. Silver Train, not as muffled. What can I say? Hide Your Love, that was good. Winter, you know, subtle things. It wasn't as thick at the end. And Can You Hear the Music? This one was really nicely done. I thought this one was a good one, improvement. And Star Star is, there's not much you could do to that song because there's not much effects. It's pretty raw, straight, in your face rock and roll, boogie woogie. So I didn't hear much of a difference. That's what I got for the album, for the normal, straightforward album that Giles Martin did. Yeah, what can I say? That's what I got. Talk about the outtakes. We know a lot, and we've seen a lot of these promotions going on. If you haven't, there's a lot out there for Scarlett, Jimmy Page, and Stones, Crisscross, and, All the Rage, and you know they're pushing this a lot. But Scarlett, as you may or may not know, has Jimmy Page in it. So the quick story again, Ronnie Wood invited Keith over. He had some people over. Gretsch was there. Where's Great with Traffic? Anyway, Fairport Convention guy was there. Gosh, I can't remember all these guys. Ronnie wasn't playing. Keith was there, Charlie was there, and Jimmy Page was invited. And he came over, he said, hey, Charlie, Keith, yeah, sure. And the other guys he knew also, or he didn't know. No, he didn't know the other guy. Anyway, there's interviews with Jimmy on this. Listen to it. And the song is not strong. It's not rough. It's just pretty straightforward. Mick wasn't there. He recorded it the next day, his vocals. And there's different versions of this too. And it was supposed to be used for a demo, and it turned into something a little more advanced. It's a nice song. It's not risky. It's pretty straightforward. And there's some weaving guitars. The song Crisscross. This was on bootlegs already. This is known to the Stones fans. Crisscross Man, Save Me, Crisscross Mine, and different versions. This one is, of course, different. This was recorded in Jamaica and then London polished up. It has a great groove. They really kept with this. Sounds like it's an only rock and roll type song from that album. Mick wrote it. He had Billy Preston on clavinet. He had a lot of extra percussion here. Keith's in open tuning. Mick Taylor's playing bass. Mick Jagger is playing guitar. And that's much what I could say about it. And Ian Stewart played on Scarlet too. I guess that's the savior there, right? The rocker. The other song, All That Rage, not a new song. I hate to disappoint you. This is a song that was called You Should Have Seen Her Ass, and the words were a little murky. And so Mick decided, I guess, to rewrite the words, because maybe he didn't have those archived. I don't know, but in isolation recently he did it. And lyrically, I don't need your designer duds. I want to be cool and smart. Better act your age. Those are not Stone 70 lyrics. 7 of the 70s, I'm sorry. Kind of lame. And I just got to be upfront with that. Cool Keith riff and Mick Taylor solo. Like I said, the bootleg versions are different and good, but the song's about clothes and fashion. The guitars are what make this song, really. So let's put it there. Let's be honest. Crunch and picking and nice break. Piano playing is nice. And at 2:33 mark, you'll hear a very honky-tonk type solo riff. So let's just say that one was okay. There's a song that I played on my part 1, and this is the song I think they should include it on the album, or they should include it on this album, whatever. Through the Lonely Nights. It's a cousin, if you listen to it, of Faraway Eyes. Country. A distant cousin. Distant. A fabulous song. It's immediately likable. It holds its own. I would have definitely taken this over the other songs. This song could probably fit on Black and Blue, definitely. If you listen to it, you understand what I mean. A lot of subtleties here. Mick has vocal doubling, very, very effective. Fantastic Mick and Keith chorus in here, and Mick Taylor's leads are pronounced. You can just hear him just whistle with his leads. Great. Piano is so friggin' good here also. Listen to Mick's rap at the end, around the 3:16 mark when you listen to this song. It's great. I mean, not many people can do what Mick does and how he does it, but go listen for this song. Listen to that 3:16, just that little piece of his rapping. He's throwing it out there. It's just really cool. When I mean rapping, I don't mean rapping as we know it. Rapping, Mick knows it. This was a B-side to It's Only Rock and Roll in 1974, so some of you may have heard it. Mick and Keith play electric. Jimmy Page is acoustic on this one, so you can hear him there. And Billy, Charlie, and Nicky Hopkins. So I just wanted to make a mention to that, and I gotta say, if you hear that song, if you see the song, go check it out. Listen to that one. But it's not on the album. All right, so the other cuts. 100 Years Ago, Dancing with Mr. D instrumental, Heartbreaker instrumental. All I will say, those are the prized possessions of this record. I should say of this one that came out. Beautiful. Just so well done, so different, such alternate versions. You know the songs, you just got to hear it, and you got to listen to it. And you can search on YouTube and find these, but you need to listen to it and hear the difference. And you're going to say, wow. I'm not going to talk too much about it, just say that they are the cream of the crop there. and Stones heads, I'm sure, love it. Glyn Johns did a good job with his remixes, which leads me now to the reason why I really got this deluxe set. And Brussels Affair. I talked about this in my It's Only Rock and Roll album review. I talked a little bit about it in this set, Goat's Head, a little bit. But this was mixed by Bob Clearmountain, this version. And yeah, he did the mixing. And those of you who don't know Bob, they say Clearmountain. Bob Clearmountain. I thought it was Clearmountain. Okay. Either it's a spelling error or I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. So anyway, Andrew Johns recorded this. He was the engineer on it. There was a show in Brussels. So the reason why I surely got this album without hesitation was for this release that they added. So the tie-in here is on the 73 tour, which was for the Goat's Head album release. This bootleg was created, and it's from the show from that tour. So that's a tie-in. I can't express the greatness of this album. I could only say, get it, listen to it loud as you can, use headphones or crank that system up, because this thing is going to take you for a friggin' ride. Probably the best Stones live album there is. I think it blows Yayas away. Anybody that likes Yayas, you can make your own video and talk about that, how great it is. But this one, to me, is so polished, so pure. It's flawless. Flawless. The beauty and energy of this album. It was official bootleg back in 2012, this live recording. There's so many, a lot of bootlegs of this. I want to say there's about 65 versions of this, whether it be, with some songs. 2 shows were done in one day. What was it, October 17th, 73? Yes. So they couldn't go to France, so they went to Belgium, and they went to record this. And they played 21 cities on this tour in 73 for the Goat's Head. And it's the European tour. They did approximately 40 shows. A lot of double nights. The energy that they had and the output that they gave, I can't even imagine how they could do 2 shows in one day. It's comatose. Anyway, this album was first released digitally in 2011 or 2011, I guess, through the Rolling Stones archive and Google Play. Followed 2012 with a limited edition box set. This box set was about $750. It came with some autographs and a lot of little fluff added to it, and $750, and it was a polished piece. I couldn't touch that thing. So that's why I had my eyes on it. I just put it in my want list, and I would get some notifications, okay, you can get it for $650. I didn't really care about the autograph things. I just care about the rock and roll. There's a Japanese CD that was out there in 2015, but there was no official release until now with this. Keith basically says that he's rarely heard the Stones that early on in their career playing live, and it was that well recorded. He has kudos to this album. He heard it. He likes it. He definitely endorses this one. And you know, they had their European tour. They started off September 1st in Vienna. They played Scotland, England, Germany, Denmark, Holland, Switzerland, you know, and then again Belgium. This Belgium show, like I said, there was 2 showings. The record has been available until it's been tough to get until now. Grab this sucker. Turn it up, please. It's just so clarity, mix, everything is there. It is GBG. It's friggin' good, goosebumps good. Definitely. When I needed to get psyched for playing sports, my football, my basketball, this is what I played. Actually, earlier on, I had Bed Spring Symphony, which was a bootleg of this. There's so many versions of bootlegs of it, different quality sounds. It took whatever I get. But I had Bed Spring Symphony, and I had this back on. My friends and I, we just knew how fantastic this was. So I had it on cassette. When I needed to get ready to play basketball and football and get pumped, I just put on Happy live. And just the adrenaline, I would just go off. When you put this on, first thing you're going to start hearing is Mick's voice. He gives a whoa, you know, one of his those screams, and you just start. You feel it. It kicks in right from that point. The performance is proof of how fabulous Keith is as a rhythm guitarist, and Mick Taylor, just how fluid he is. Everything. The bass playing of Bill is just unbelievable. Charlie and Mick. You don't hear a lot of the Billy Preston in here. That's the one thing. You do hear the backgrounds, but this one is driven right into your chest when you hear this. Again, Keith's intro. Actually, it's just 3 chords. And on the Let It Bleed studio album, Keith played all the guitar parts. Mick wasn't in the band at that point. Horns and Mick Taylor's intro. The guitar weaving is just extraordinaire. Again, I wrote down here GBG. Bill and Charlie are just pounding. Gimme Shelter live. Piano is heard as the tune goes on more. You start hearing the piano. At this point, you gotta really visualize what this show is. You gotta have pictures in front of you, and you start visualizing the 73 Stones and what they look like and how powerful they were. Top of the world, the greatest rock and roll band. The prancing of Mick. I mean, forget his dancing and how he does his dancing the way he does today. His prancing was much cooler back then. They're really grooving. They go right into Happy, and Mick basically says, "All right, yes sir," and he starts talking French, and right away you'll hear Keith stretching his voice, just stretching it to perfection. Very cool. Probably the best Happy you'll ever hear. This is great. Mick and Keith joint vocals and Taylor's slides. I'm sorry, Ronnie Wood. It's just hard. He's good, but when you hear this is great. when I hear Happy, like I said, I put that on for playing sports. I basically want to put the pedal to the metal and just floor it. Tumbling Dice, Mick gives an oh yeah, this is actually one of their slower songs. Keith is crunching the hell out of this open G telly here. I guess he's playing Malcolm, blonde telly. This is one of the treats of the album. Mick's vocals, the improvisations, he squeezes in different lyrics. You Got to Roll Me. Taylor plays some sweet arpeggios, guitar work in there. It's not just hard guitar, it's just arpeggio playing. A beautiful sound. Keith is crunching and Charlie pounding. I'm writing these notes as I'm listening to this in headphones, blaring. Again, I freaking got goosebumps when I even talk about it. So the ending, and again, this is why Mick is the best frontman. It's just sweet. They go into Starfucker. Again, this just came out, and he basically says we're going to do some new songs. Here he says if he ever gets back to Jackson Girl, it's going to make her scream all night. There's versions where he says New Orleans. All of these versions says Jackson here. Keith is so up front. Bill with the bass is great during the chorus. Listen to him play in the chorus of Star in this. Mick Taylor is mostly boogie woogie guitar on this Stars, and Billy and the horns stand out, and the repetition at the ending, just killer. Dancing with Mr. D just sounds so good. Mick Taylor, the slide leads, they creep in real tastefully. Keith is working this for sure, this song. He's really got it down. Vocals are so clear and very much like the album. And the guitar riff, while Mick is singing, dancing, you get lost and you drift a lot in this. It takes a lot of listening for this to hear it all. Is so much, to focus on. Then he says, we're gonna do Keith. Taylor Jagger exchange is breathless. Taylor's playing harmonics in here, which is just great. Billy sings his classic background, oh yes. What a funky break, great ending, and he does his thank you very kindly. Angie, nice applause when they start Angie. So again, it just came out. They didn't use acoustics, they used electric guitars here. So different sound. Now today they use the acoustics more. I think Chuck Lavelle wants to make it more like studio, and back then they didn't. So such a great melodic guitar playing here. Just when you start saying where's the piano will kick in. You do hear it. Billy's solo is really short. Keith playing leads is the last part. You can't always get what you want. Keith in open G with the horn, Mick singing. It's just so pure. Hearing this live with Taylor is such a unique experience. So different than Ronnie. Keith background, again, he's singing that background the way Stones heads know it, with his specialty, his beauty, his uniqueness. It's the way it should be. Taylor doesn't overdo it on the verse or anywhere. He doesn't. He just does what he needs to. When you hear this and you're feeling this concert and the greatness and that period of time, It's not about a $10 million light show or blow-up dolls or gadgetry and bullshit effects. This is about the grooving and the band playing and loving and digging their music and wanting to give it to the audience. They play their fucking hearts out here. They do what they love to do, and you're going to feel it, and you're going to realize how great they are. So when you want to visualize this is old school visual. This is watching the band, not watching other distractions, not looking at your friggin' phone. This is about the band. You're tapping your foot, you're nodding your head, and you're digging this. It's what it's about. What you're witnessing, hearing the great rock and roll band play. So when you listen to this, and by now you don't feel it, turn it off. Go listen to, I don't know, go listen to something else, because I don't think you'll ever get it. Watch some footage you can from 72, 73. Anyway, Midnight Rambler, 3 chords. They don't write them like they used to, folks. 3 chords. Band kicks in with a heartbeat like I saw a ghost. They kick right in. 3 friggin' chords, my God. Mick blows his friggin' lungs out, and he doesn't miss a beat. That harmonica, you gotta. It's not just a blues harmonica, that you're hearing. Listen to him play this live, and you understand why Keith says he's just unbelievable. This song sets them into a pace that's just downhill from here. Keith is ripping. This version is just like drives away from yayas. You can just see the taillights faded. It just goes off in the sunset. Basically, Mick has the audience with his screaming the yows and slamming that scarf down. You could feel it. The visual. Ladies and gentlemen, watch that also. Taylor's using some wah-wah in the leads. And if your speakers aren't cranked, if your headphones aren't up again, don't even bother, please. Turn it off. You need the effect. The last 4 minutes of this song have got to be etched in as rock and roll greatness. Pure. When anyone talks to me about my favorite band, this is what I think about. This piece, this music. And that puts me into my Stones head. This is what comes to mind. Honky Tonk Woman. You can feel the pace is up here. It's not a slow version. It's a fast version. Like I said, Midnight brought them up. The synchronicity here is fantastic. Keith has some vocals in here. Right after that is All Down the Line. You might as well shoot adrenaline right into your eyes. I mean, they have such a fast groove. This is when Keith heard about this show and he heard this bootleg and he heard the pounding of pace of these songs, all he said was, poor Charlie. That about says it all. Basically, they're taking it home now. They say, all right, we're going to rock and roll for you. They kick into the nitroglycerin Rip This joint. those of you who know Rip This Joint, the pace is just unfriggin' believable. Listen to Bill Wyman's playing. Blues. Unbelievable. They kick into Jumpin' Jack Flash. I'm not a fan of Jumpin' Jack Flash live. I think Ronnie plays it his way, and it does what they can. Maybe they're trying to sound like the album. You listen to Mick Taylor, Jumpin' Jack Flash. He really defined it the way it should have been. The riffing of Keith and Mick is mind blowing. How they riff together. This is how it should be played. If you don't feel exhausted by the end of this album, listening to this, check your friggin' pulse. Don't plan on going to sleep after you listen to this. Street Fighting Man, the last song. At this part, you hear Mick pushing it to another level, even farther. Keith is relentless. This is what all the 70s bands wanted to be. They wanted to rock like this. This is, you think of any bands. Aerosmith, Black Crowes, all these rockers. This is what they wanted. Taylor lets his wah-wah rip now into pure jam mode. At the end, they sound like one big synthesizer at the end. Listen to it, you'll see what I mean. They're just pushing it to the peak. This is visually when Mick is running around the stage, throwing his water out, throwing his pedals out, just bringing the audience into him, into the band. What a way to go out. What a show. What an album. Do yourself a favor. At least listen to it. Cranked headphones. No freaking computer speakers, please. This is just pure rock and roll. Okay. Hopefully you got it from me. So I'm not going to sum anything up. I'm going to stop right here. I think you got my whole pieced picture on Goat's Head Soup. Go back and listen to this if you don't get it, or don't listen at all. They delivered something special for us, and let's leave it at that. I hope you really enjoyed this. Please let me know in comments. I appreciate the comments. Who knows what I will do next. I do have in mind, pretty obvious, but it takes a lot of time. God, it's a lot of preparation. It's fun as all hell, but it's a lot of time. Thank you very much for being patient, listening to this, digging it, commenting, being rock and rollers that you are. If you stuck through this, that's what it's all about. It's what I'm about. Let's just hope the Stones put out something good next album. But how about leaving it with that? Talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Take care.